There we go. Exactly 12:08. All right. My handy dandy water here. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Natariel Powell here, Natariel the Book Doctor, and I'm excited about Authorpreneur Week. We've got another great session going on today. It is called The Great American Novel, and my guest is Ms. Dawn Gatling Coates. And Ms. Muhammad is watching. Hi, Mrs. Muhammad. How are you? Ms. Dawn is here. I was just talking about you, Dawn. So today is day 3 of Authorpreneur Week. And as I just said, our topic today is the Great American Novel. We have an amazing novelist on. Her name is Miss T. Dawn Gatling Coates. And long name, amazing novelist. She is also the author of several children's books. And one that has already been published is Jason's Wish. It is absolutely amazing. I had the great pleasure of being a part of that process with editing for that book, and I just loved it. I just loved it. I have a lot of books that sometimes I have to do a bit more work with, but it was a joy and a pleasure to read Jason's Wish as well as Rain. She's going to tell you all about Rain today. Rain is her novel. Rain is the novel that is, I believe, her first baby, and she can confirm that for me, first novel. And it is amazing. The story is amazing. It is awesome how she wove everything together. And I'm not going to give you too much information about it. I'm going to let her tell you. So I'm going to go ahead and click her in. Dawn, I'm clicking you in now. And she will be here in just a second. Thanks again. While she's coming in, thanks again for joining. There you are, Dawn. How are you?
Hey.
There you are.
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. Got my headphones in. You have your headphones in? I think our sound is really, really good now. How's it on your end?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Are you able to hear okay?
Yes.
Great. Awesome sauce. So I was telling everyone about you, Dawn. This is Ms. Dawn Coates. She is an amazing author, and I was telling them all about Rain. And let me tell you something. I just recently finished Temple of My Familiar by Alice Walker. I was totally blown away. I know it's a classic. It's an oldie, but I picked it back up a while ago, and it's phenomenal. Novelists amaze me. You all are awesome because you have the opportunity, you have the ability to tell a story, you have the ability to pull us in, reel us in, and also just keep our attention, captivate our attention for an extended period of time. And you know, your novels are not your novels are not, hi everyone who's joining in now, it's not a 100-page novel. It's not a 200-page novel. I mean, you put some work in this thing. Rain was a labor of love. So without me continuing on, tell us a bit about Rain and about your process for writing Rain. Hi, Rafiki. Hold on. Before you start, we have we've got some international authors who are a part of the Authorpreneur. Now her name is Miss Rafiki Royal. I just want to say hi, Rafiki. I hope that all is well with you in Germany. And thank you so much for joining in. Dawn is an amazing author, and she's going to be able to give you some awesome information. I got a tiny bit of interference, Dawn. Do you hear it? You can't hear me at all. I heard you okay for not too long ago.
Me?
No? Yes.
Okay.
There you are.
I don't know why it dropped out.
Awesome.
That's weird.
No worries.
Okay. I missed
you missed everything.
That last that last part you just said.
Okay. I was talking about Rain, and then I was also saying that we have international authors who are part of Authorpreneur Week, and one of them just signed on. Her name is Miss Rafiki Royal. She is in Germany right now. She just finished an amazing book called Ravening Wolves, and it's an awesome book. She's going to chat with us later in the week, but I just wanted to say hi, Rafiki. I'm glad that you were able to join in and listen in, and she's going to be working on another book soon, but I wanted you to chat with everyone about Rain. Tell us what it's about, and your process for putting it together, because I know it was extensive.
Yes.
To say the least, right?
Yes. Well, Rain is a sort of an odd process because I started years ago.
Okay.
The beginning process of it started over 20 years ago, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. And it took so long for me to because I had to mature, had to grow up, I had to deal with some things. I had to do a lot of just family stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and healing.
Yes.
So a lot of that kind of I put it down, picked it up, put it down, picked it up,
Okay.
But anyway, Rain is a novel that features Rain, which is the main character, her and her family, how they deal with sexual abuse in the home,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it's how they deal with it separately.
Okay.
They it's like most families when they go through something,
Mm-hmm.
they like to sweep things under the rug,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and until that rug kind of gets big enough to grow some legs and start walking and
Uh-huh.
talking, and it tells a story for them,
Uh-huh.
and things start manifesting, and things start happening, and it kind of gets out of control, and so but that's the basis of what Rain is, when things don't stay a secret for
Gotcha.
long, you
Gotcha.
know.
Gotcha. I want them to get the book. I don't want us to tell too much of it, because I definitely want
Right,
them to get a
right.
copy. It's available on Amazon. It's not spelled any differently. It's just Rain, Rain.
Yes.
The thing that I appreciate, so I have a personal investment in Rain.
Yes.
It is an amazing novel outside of my personal investment. I read it and I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away, simply because you dealt with a very controversial topic. You dealt with it in a graceful way. And you mentioned that everyone deals with it differently. I like the way that you showed how each family member dealt
Yes.
with this situation. And anytime there's a book or movie, or any type of situation, even in reality, with sexual abuse, everyone
Mhm.
does deal with it differently.
Right.
And you carefully and artfully pinpointed that in the novel. Everyone in the
Right.
family deals with it in their own individual way. But
Right.
it was interesting to me to see, not only do we have this issue with that particular type of abuse, we have this what would look like a traditional
Mhm.
household, but then you also have a couple other elements. It's almost like there's a coming of age feel
Mhm.
to the novel, to Rain, to her transition, and
Right.
as an
Right.
adolescent, as she
Right.
moves on throughout life, and
Right.
you weave that in very, very carefully. How were you able to do that? And it looks like it's effortlessly. It just flows.
Well, it was not effortless.
I know it wasn't effortless.
But the process with that is what I did was I kept a journal
Okay.
of each character. I kept a journal
Ah,
of who they were, what age they were at different times,
interesting.
and I did it that way where I was able to keep up with it,
Okay.
because it was at first it became very, very difficult to keep up with each everyone's age,
Right. Because
each
you got a lot of
character and where they
characters.
were. Yes, yes, a lot of characters, and it was more before. I
Really?
cut some, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, I cut some people. Some people got cut,
Okay.
out of the family. So
You had an auntie and a couple of cousins or something.
no, it was actually another sibling,
Oh,
believe it or not.
wow.
Yeah, but yeah, that person got cut,
Huh.
and yeah, because it wasn't needed.
Okay.
It was enough for
So you
where it
pulled
was.
you pulled the family matters. You took Judy out.
Right,
I
right,
got it.
right, exactly.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah,
I understand.
Judy just disappeared.
I understand. I understand. I got it.
Right,
Sometimes you have to do that.
but as the story went along, that character just wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
And speaking of that, like, a lot of times the way I write is kind of like whatever comes to me, and
Okay.
I'll just go with the flow.
Okay.
Kind of like what they call the seat of your pants or whatever.
Yes.
That's the type of writer that I am. Well, I'm a little bit more organized now than I
Okay.
was then. But I don't know if you're gonna where we are on your list, if you have a list or whatever as far as topics.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
if you feel something, if you you want to go to a different place, that's totally fine.
Yeah, but as far as the you were asking about the timeline.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I took each character and make sure I put their age at this chapter.
Okay.
This is what age they are.
Okay.
And they had a list of all the characters and different things like that. So I made sure, because at first I was like, okay, but because I was putting it down and picking it up so many times,
Gotcha.
for years, and I had to do that, and so it just I recommend anyone to when they're writing anything, as far as especially a narrative or a novel, to make sure you organize your thoughts. Make sure you organize every character.
Yes.
And I do a character analysis on each character, especially the main characters.
Yes.
That
is so important. The character analysis is extremely important when you're I've had the privilege of editing editing novels or reading. I love to read novels. I love to read novels. But I attempted once. I said once to write one. I was in college. I attempted to write, and it flowed well, but I couldn't figure out what was going to happen next. I couldn't figure out where they were going to go. And as you said, I put it down for a bit, and then another book came to me, and I just kind of let that one go for a while. But character analysis is so important, and it's a little different for me to see it on the other end, because when I'm reading a book, I am looking at my mind is trained to look at the characters. My mind is trained, and I feel like it's that sitting in those Spelman classes with the literature, like we literally pull different things apart. So my brain is trained to do that. So when I'm reading a novel for someone else that I'm editing for, I'm looking at what the average reader is going to see and feel and hear and taste and touch. And I'm looking at, okay, so why is this person's name this? Why does she wear that color?
And I try to be strategic with naming.
You were excellent at the names of your characters, because people don't always understand that the names of your characters are very significant. What you choose to name your character, if you're giving a chapter a title, what you choose to name that chapter, that's significant. The colors that the characters wear, what they say and how they say it, because with that character analysis, you can go through all of that. But I would assume that it would be very, very difficult to write a novel and you just write without having a character analysis to know exactly what's going on. Because if your character has a particular type of attitude, she doesn't always need to wear blue. You know what I mean? She needs to walk in the room in a green dress, not a blue dress, because of the type of character that you're giving her. Or if there's a particular way that you're describing, and you are so awesome with the descriptions. When I was reading, I saw rain.
Thank you.
I'm serious. I saw her in my head. I saw her curly
Hmm.
hair. I saw
Right.
her in my mind. She was a petite figure. You know,
Hmm.
she looked to me like, like a good mixture between the mother and the father. I saw
Hmm.
her. And the reason why I saw her was because of how you wrote her.
Okay.
Now, could you speak with people who are aspiring novelists on how to write a character, how to describe a character without saying her eyes are blue? Without,
Right.
well, you know what I mean.
Right.
Take it
Right.
from me.
Well, with my beginning process,
Hmm.
I really just envisioned the person. But what I have started to do now is I actually go and look for a person online,
Oh,
and I get a picture,
okay,
a literal picture of a person that I think how they would look, or their type of even a mannerism or something. That
okay,
type of person, this person acts like this person, like let's say like an Angela Bassett type,
okay,
person, like the demeanor. She's like really I would kind of classify her as sort of like a Felicia Rashad type,
okay.
like the classy,
Yes.
so that I kind of have like pictures of different people
Okay.
where I can I guess piece together
Okay.
somewhat. But as far as looks, I would recommend like actually get the picture and describing that person.
Right.
And to me that's the easiest, and that's what I did actually the most with the setting,
Okay.
of the book.
You
I
you nailed the setting. You nailed it. You nailed
Thank you.
it. You nailed it. I didn't mean to cut you off. You nailed it. When I read the book, I was in the kitchen with you all. That's how I felt. I was
Okay.
in the kitchen with the characters. I was sitting around the table as they were talking. When I
Okay.
read, I was, when they went in different areas, I was at the front of
Right.
the house. I was outside. I knew
Okay.
what it looked like because of the
Right.
way you described it to me. And you didn't just say the table is brown and circular shaped,
Right.
and it wasn't cookie cutter.
Right.
Not
Give
at
you
all.
dimensions.
Exactly. You were
Yeah.
expert at how you placed everything and how you gave me that information. Have you ever read a novel and you feel like you have too much detail, you have too much information,
Yeah.
and you want to
Yeah.
skip?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I got it. It was
Yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
cloudy day. I
See,
got it.
my thing is I don't like a lot of fluff. A lot of fluff.
Yeah.
I'm not a fluffy type person. Like the sky is as heavenly as the this and this and this and
Uh-huh.
this. I, look, just tell me the sky's blue and it's something something whatever.
Right.
But all that poetic stuff. I'm not maybe other people like it,
Uh-huh.
but I'm just not a that's well, I'm not gonna name names, but
No, 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 no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know you might be tempted, but don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
They'll come back and bite you. Don't
But
do
I'm
it.
right. But I'm not a one of those
The flowery, you would say.
extreme. Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you,
I
you did
know
it well.
people like to experience the environment, or to even smell it.
Yes.
But all the poetic stuff, I don't really.
Yeah. You artfully put that together. How would you say now? One of the things that I'm a great proponent of when I am talking with someone who's writing a novel is
Hmm.
your vocabulary and your language. And this
Right.
is something
Right.
that you nailed again. I like to tell people, listen, read books, read books,
Hmm.
read a lot
Yeah.
of books, and not just blogs are great, articles are fine, that's great, but books, actual books, not to copy
Right.
or mimic what anyone is doing, but so
Exactly.
that you can
Get the
build your
feel.
vocabulary.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Exactly. If you
Hmm.
look at different novels, there's a structure, and there are
Right.
different types of uh, words that are used particular to what's going on in that novel. Can you speak to the
Right.
vocabulary part of the jargon, or how you develop that part, or just the importance of expanding
Right.
your vocabulary? Don't tell me that the house is big.
Right. Right.
Tell me it is gargantuan. Make me look up some,
Right.
you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Make me
Right.
look up
Right.
some
Exactly.
words, don't
Exactly.
just tell, oh, it was just a lovely day. No, it was not a lovely day. Come, give me another word for lovely, you know.
Right.
Um,
Right.
tell me something else other than that. So you're the expert. I'm going to shut up.
No, you.
But tell us about that, because a lot of people, when you say, read a book, they're like, oh my
Right.
gosh, or I don't want to read another book because I don't want to end up mimicking this person.
Right.
And it's
Right.
not about that. It's all about expanding your vocabulary, because if you're using the same types of words over and over and
Right.
over again, it's not basic. It's not about using big words. Some of the most powerful words are 5-6 letters long.
Right. Right.
Okay, speak on that for us. I'm going to be quiet. I promise I will.
Through this process is funny, because with Rain, Rain went through, because it took me so long to finish it.
Uh-huh.
It went through about at least 3 different eras.
Wow.
So I had to rewrite it.
Okay.
I had to rewrite it at least 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
To change the language.
Okay.
Because, the language changed. And I mean, the last 10, 15 years, the language has changed like at least 2 or 3 times.
It has.
And because you have, and even when it comes to, when I started it, cell phones weren't popular.
Okay.
So I had to even, change it to the modern, to all of that.
Yeah. So she's
so,
texting instead of calling. Got it.
Exactly. And so, as far as language, and you helped me with that too, because I'm not a slang type person.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of, especially the slang of today.
Gotcha.
And you kind of helped me with, like the what's the word you gave me? On fleek.
On fleek. Yes. Yeah,
I thought that was the silliest. I thought that was.
I don't normally say that,
right.
but I know that.
That's the language.
Age, that's what she would say.
Exactly.
So that
right.
That was something that I was like, you know what? No, she wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
She would say this.
Right.
And that's what you got to think about. With your character, what would that character say in 2020?
Exactly.
We wouldn't say that's a very handsome young man. You would say
exactly.
You would say something else.
Right. But language is very, very important. You have to stick with the time that you're
yes.
that you have, because some novels are based on different times.
Yes.
But if you're set in this time, in this present time, you have to be up on the language of this time, especially when it comes to teenagers, young people.
Definitely.
Because they read something, they're gonna be like, what is that?
Yeah.
what are you saying? Something is the bomb? Really? No.
Yeah, they don't say that anymore.
Right.
They don't say that anymore.
Right. Right. So that we have to erase that word. Oh no, you fine. But the bomb is not the bomb anymore.
The bomb is not the bomb. You're absolutely right. It is not the bomb.
So you have to adapt, the language of your characters, and it's so important because I write for the readers.
Yes.
Whoever I want to read this book,
yes.
I write for them. And I have to speak to them to reach them.
Yes.
So that to me that is very important for them to to want to continue reading, and to relate,
That is important.
If you hit them where they are, they'll be comfortable and say she gets it or they get it,
Right.
And they're more apt to relate to it, but language is very important.
Yes.
And like I said, you helped me with that too. You
Well,
know,
I'm
with
glad
when
I
it
could
comes
be
to
of
the
help.
slang, the slangs and all that, because I'm
I
not.
got a little
That's
bit
not
of it in
my.
there. I got a little bit of it in there. I don't pull it out often. I don't pull it out too often. But I
That's
got
all.
a little bit of it.
Just give him a little bit. Just give him a little bit. That's
I'm
all.
so glad you
Yeah.
said that you write for your reader. I'm very
Yes.
glad about that. You write for your reader. There are a lot of
Yeah.
authors, especially some independent authors, who, when starting
Mhm.
out, they start to write for themselves.
Themselves, right?
And although I know it's your story, you want to get your story told, but you have to
Right.
consider your reader. You have to
Right.
consider the fact that you're not really writing this book for you. You're writing this
Right.
book so someone else can read it.
Right.
And so, that's the
And
opposite thing.
and sometimes, I mean, you may start out your first draft may be for yourself.
Right? Mm-hmm.
You know, it may be for yourself, but when you start going back and reading it, you can maybe think
Mm-hmm.
about more of the reader. You
Yes.
know, when it comes, with the second draft, and say,
Yes.
well, maybe I need to, add a little bit of this so they can understand it.
Yes.
Or it's not just me understanding it, or it's just not me just knowing what I'm saying, because I'm in my head,
Right.
thinking about how other people can, are they going to be able to get this? And you mentioned something about words earlier,
Yes.
using bigger words or using more expressive words,
Yes. More expressive.
and
Yes.
I think it's important, because when I was in school, I grew up, I had a learning disability.
Really?
And yes, I had a learning disability. Actually, it was undiagnosed dyslexia.
I would have never known that.
Yeah. And so, reading for me, I always loved reading, but I had a hard time.
Okay.
And things, it was certain things that that would kind of trigger me to go and look something up. I used
Okay.
to love going looking things up, and it
Yes.
helped me to want to read more.
Okay.
And so when I write, I think of the challenge. I think of the
Okay.
challenge of the reader,
Okay.
not just to give, because with Rain, it's a young adult,
Yes.
it's more geared to young adults. So I want to challenge their vocabulary.
Yes. Definitely.
So I'm not just on the surface of just giving them, like the vernacular as far as everything they can understand,
Exactly.
but bringing you up to I guess gain more vocabulary, or
Yes.
look, like you said, look up the words.
Yes.
What does this
Look it
mean?
up.
But not every single word.
Right.
But
Right.
right. But every now and then, just throw in some stuff where they can, and especially like with Jason's Wish.
Yes.
One
Tell
thing
us
that
about that.
one thing that I did with Jason's Wish, and it's a like you said, it's a children's book. I actually have a what do you call it, glossary at the end of the book, at the back of the book.
Okay.
And because that book is more geared to like 7, 8-year-olds.
Yes.
So I guess you would say 7 to 10-year-olds.
Yes.
And so I put bigger words in there,
Mm-hmm.
but I have those words in the back of the book so they can look them up.
Right.
So it won't be such a struggle of, I'm going to bring you up, but I'm not going to leave you there.
Exactly.
I'm not just going to leave you out, out there.
Exactly.
So I think English language is very important. Is so I actually I had 2 years of communication, so I had a lot of English
language.
And,
Ooh,
yeah.
You had a whole
classes
lot
and
of classes.
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my! Well, now you took us to Jason's Wish. I like that. I like that. That was a lovely segue for us. here is the deal. Someone's saying hello to you. If anyone has joined
Hey,
on
Christina.
recently, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us with Authorpreneur Week. This is day number 3. We're chatting with Ms. Dawn Coates, wonderful novelist of the book Rain, and she gave us some information about her process of writing. And now we're talking about her book, her second book, Jason's Wish. Now, Jason's Wish was awesome. Let me tell you why I love Jason's Wish. I love it because I think it kind of speaks to several different things that adults may be dealing with, but it's from a child's perspective. And it is, for that 7 to 10 range, but I like the fact that it's not just it's a cross between a chapter book and a standard book. Mm-hmm. So it's, it's not too long. The vocabulary, as you said, is not difficult for that group of students to understand, and they're able to glean from the actual story. I love Jason's Wish because to me it touched on a topic that is not often discussed, and that's adoption. And so I like the fact that with children's books, there are people who are writing about all different types of topics because kids need that enforcement. They need that information as they're being groomed. And you eloquently, again, with just creating these characters, when I read the book, I saw Jason. I saw him because of how you wrote him. I cannot express enough how important it is to write your characters in a certain way that your readers can see them without you saying certain things. So what was would you say that the process for Jason's Wish was different from the process with Rain?
It was different. Now the thing with Jason's Wish, which is kind of, I actually wrote Jason's Wish in a couple of days.
Wow. That's pretty serious.
I had joined this writing group. Okay. And I was I said, it was years ago. And I was like, you know what? I don't have anything written. I don't have like anything just finished, just complete, that I can add to this group. And so I was like, what can I for some reason, I don't know honestly, I don't know where that story came from. Okay. I could not tell you where the whole adoption thing came from, where the orphanage, I could not tell you. I don't even remember where it came from, honestly. It just popped into your head. It just came to me. Wow. And the one thing that it started out as a Christmas story. Okay, because you do have that Christmas element in there. Right. It started out as a Christmas story because it was around Christmas time when I wrote it, and I was like, well, what would someone, and I for some reason I don't know why I thought about the orphanage, but what would a child in the orphanage wish for Christmas? Interesting. And so I started kind of from that. Okay. And but I'm like, the main thing that they would probably wish for, of course, are parents. Right. But he realizes that, what he wishes for is, it goes beyond just parents. Yes. Yes, that's right in front of him, what he wishes for is right. I don't want to tell too much. Yeah, don't tell him. I want him to go get it. I want him to go get the book. Listen, Rain and Jason's Wish are both available on Amazon. And now, hold on. We've got another. Do we have a sequel to Jason's Wish coming soon? Or, I still owe you another edit. I didn't forget. Yes. Oh, no. You good. Yes, it's coming. The thing is, I've been ghostwriting. I've been and I've been doing other people's stuff. You just opened up a whole new portal. Yes. Listen. Okay, now you got to tell us about the ghostwrite. I ghostwrite as well, and I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad that now I don't ghostwrite very often. I do. Right. That's actually it's my first time. Actually, really? This is my first time. It's a lot. It is a huge undertaking, and people do not understand
that ghostwriting is such a huge
Yes.
undertaking. Some people, and it's not, anything against the person, but people
Right.
ghostwriting, when you have a ghostwriter, you don't just give this person your idea and say, okay, go write. It doesn't work that way. When you
Right.
have a ghostwriter, this person is taking time with you. This person is taking time to understand your story, learn your story, and write your story from
Yes.
your point of view, from your perspective.
Exactly.
And so
Right.
to me, I feel like you've got writing, you've got publishing, you've got editing, you've got ghostwriting. But to me, ghostwriting is like, it's the pinnacle, because
Yeah.
it pulls
Yeah.
the most out of you.
Oh
You
yeah.
got to
Oh yeah.
connect with that
Yes.
author. You
Yes.
got to make sure you really have a clear
You know.
understanding.
Yes.
You got to know
Who they
his or
are.
her story. Yes.
Right.
You got to, okay, I'm going to stop.
It's like you almost have to be in their mind, in their
Yes.
body, like,
Yes.
thinking how they would think, what they would think, how they would say
Yes.
what they're gonna say, and this one, it's a almost like a historic bio of
Okay.
of this person's relatives, and the story is just awesome.
Okay.
I mean, their life story is just awesome.
Okay.
But it's like, I mean, and what's great about what this person did, she gave me like a lot of she actually wrote like the story, some of his story.
Okay.
Like, but I have to like add
Piece
to it for history, what was going on during that time, and this was like during slavery time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
you got your work
very
cut
excited.
Out
Yeah.
Listen, with something like that, and then and the other thing that people don't always understand, ghostwriters are often paid a premium, paid more than you would pay for publishing. The ghostwriter is paid more than you would pay for. Robin's on. Hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Your ghostwriter is usually paid more than you would pay for editing or other services, because they have so much that they're doing. They're getting into your head.
Exactly.
And I think some people feel
spending
like
time with them. And
yes, you're spending time. It is. There was I had the opportunity some years ago to work with Reverend Matthew Southall Brown with his book with ghostwriting. And when I tell you he has stories for years, not for days.
Wow. I'm
he
sure.
said he has stories for years.
Wow.
And that process of sitting down with him, and it wasn't one session. You got to be extensive. You got to sit down. And some people years ago, ghostwriters would work with a tape recorder. We don't do that anymore, y'all.
Right.
We don't do that tape recorder anymore, y'all. Because if I'm sitting down with you with a tape recorder, then that means that after I'm finished with the session, I've got to go transcribe what's on the tape recorder. That's going to be extra time. We don't do that anymore. So now we have wonderful devices that will record you as you speak. I don't know what you use, and then it will transcribe it for you. But you still have to listen and take notes, because it's not going to get every word down correctly.
Right.
So it's
now,
which one?
This one is a little different, because she kind of like gave me her like this almost like a skeleton.
Okay.
Of his story.
Okay. Well, you're 2 steps ahead of the game.
Yeah, that made it a little easier for me. But I also have some audio from another relative. So I have to kind of piece that together too. But it's I couldn't even imagine like sitting down with them and recording, like trying to get that's
Dawn.
more power to you.
It's serious now. Don't get me wrong, it was rewarding. It was rewarding.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
I wouldn't
sure.
take anything
Yeah.
from it. I still remember his
Yeah.
stories to this day,
Yeah.
and just to learn from him. He
And you're a
is
part of history. You're a part of that
yes,
history now.
yes.
Yes.
He was a part of the. Let me tell you, one of the stories I'll never forget that he told me. He was a part of the 2,221, the soldiers that went over who were chosen to fight in the World War, but they were chosen to fight
Wow.
as quartermasters, and they were, they weren't given the same opportunities as
Wow.
some of the white soldiers. But when it was
Hmm.
time to fight, they sent them over. When they needed more
Yeah.
people, they sent them over to
Right.
fight. So it was
Wow.
captivating, but
Wow.
it was work. It was work.
Yeah.
Now it was work, and I think it's important that people understand with ghostwriting, you are working, and there is still
Oh yeah.
something that the author may have to write or get
Mhm.
out in order to give
Mhm.
you what you need as the ghostwriter.
Right.
You can't just,
Right.
well, here's my story. I want to write a story about my life, and here's what happened. Okay, go write it. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It
And
does not work like
so
that.
far this is a year-long contract.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, that's super serious. Oh, my hat's
Yeah.
off to you. My hat's off to you. But you know what? Ooh, that's serious.
Yeah.
That is really serious. I think
Yeah.
my longest project might have been maybe 6 months. I think
Yeah.
my longest one might have been 6 months.
But
That's
even if
serious.
it takes, let's say like it takes 6 months, she 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 said I was gonna write the next one.
Oh,
So
you're
it's
in
more.
there. Virtual high
Yeah.
five. Virtual
Yes.
high five. That's a beautiful thing. And then
Yeah.
you got a good bit of work cut out for you that I know that you are more than capable and more than able to tackle. It's interesting when
Right.
you have historical fiction, well, not historical fiction, but a historical novel, because not
Nonfiction. Yeah.
only are you telling this person's story, but you've got to make sure the
Mhm.
facts are straight. You can't say
Exactly.
something happened in
Exactly.
1863 if it happened in
Exactly.
1865,
Exactly.
because you've got people who will read, and it's,
Exactly.
but because of the type of book that it is, depending on who your reader is, they're gonna know, no, that wasn't 1863, that was 1865.
Right.
So
Right.
we would call that a historical anachronism, or
Mhm.
or just say, more so, not so much the I wouldn't call that an anachronism. I would call that an inconsistency or an error with
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
timing. But if you're
Mhm.
saying that this person
You
is
just use a
using,
$10 word. Yeah.
yes, they're using, oh, I didn't even catch it. I didn't even catch it. I was just going. You had me going, dog. I didn't even catch it. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry. My brain,
Yeah,
when
I know, I know.
when I get to, especially when I get to talking to somebody,
Oh no, you good,
and
you
reading.
good.
My sister's on. Hi, baby sis. How are you? And she wants to write a book as well. So I'm not.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
don't know what type of book she wants to write, but
Oh
I'm
yeah,
going
lots of
to
research.
encourage her as much as possible. So okay, if anyone, I'm going to go back because I didn't even catch it. Thank you, Dawn. And anachronism, that's what I had to say. It's not an anachronism, it's more of like a consistency
Yeah.
issue with that. But an
Mhm.
anachronism is something that happens in literature or in a book that you're reading, where something is not in the right, it's not written in the right time period or the right
Mhm.
setting.
Mhm.
Or let's say you have a book from that's supposed to be set in 1920, and you're
Mhm.
saying that your character picked up his cell phone.
Right,
That
right,
is an
right,
anachronism,
right.
because in 1920 they didn't have cell phones. You
It's
know what I'm
like it's
saying?
almost like when, because I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I've
I don't
heard
either.
like in Game of Thrones they had a Starbucks coffee cup there. Because
Okay.
I guess it's set in like really really far back time,
Oh,
and they
okay.
had a Starbucks coffee cup, but it wasn't a part of the set, but it was it was left behind by you know
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
that would totally be an anachronism. If that's so, that would be out of place. I don't watch
Right,
Game of Thrones either. I know nothing about Game of Thrones, but
right,
that would
right,
definitely be a good example. Tell me
right.
this. Here's what I want to know. You told us about Jason's Wish, which I love. You told us about Rain. I love Rain. If we have people on who are authors and I'm sorry, who are writing novels now. They're trying to figure out how to put it together, what to do, where to go, how to have the characters speak to them. Could you give them some information about that?
Um, let me say this. I have a background in film
Okay.
and theater also, and a lot of times what happens with me is I see almost like the story in like a film, almost like
Ah.
I see it come to me almost like a film, like a
Okay.
scene in a film.
Okay.
And so if you can see it, you can write it. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know, you know. So I would say kind of get if you can you have like a concept or something, kind of like let it live in your mind.
Yes.
Let it take life,
Yes.
in your mind. Almost envision it like a movie. Let
Okay.
the characters, just have their way in your mind. You
Yes.
know, and what I do a lot of times, I was going to say this earlier, is like when it comes to scenes, I actually act out the scenes before I write
You
it.
what?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually,
hold on, no, hold on. No. You can't gloss over that one. Help me,
Yes.
help me understand.
Yeah.
How?
Okay. Yeah. I literally like I can hear someone talking to me,
Okay.
and then I'll like speak to them the way that character would speak to them.
Ah.
And so it's like the back and forth in your mind, and I'm not crazy,
I don't know. No,
but
you're not.
no,
I understand. I'm with you. I'm
and
with
that's
you.
my process.
I'm
That's
with
my
you.
process because of my background. But I think that helps. Just
Okay.
having the dialogue. The dialogue between the characters.
Okay.
Hearing the dialogue. How would the character speak to this person? And
Ah.
it's all in your head first, and
Yeah.
then you can write it down. On paper or
Mm-hmm.
type or whatever, however you your process is.
Huh.
But that's for me. That's
Very
I act out my
interesting.
scenes. Yeah, I act out my scenes. Everything with, especially with rain, like I just like all of those dramatic scenes.
Uh-huh.
I mean I cried and
Are you
everything. I did
serious?
Michelle, everything.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I went everything they went through. I went through, in my mind. Like I went through the whole thing,
oh,
and
wow.
I wrote it. Sometimes I couldn't keep up because I would
Wow.
see it. I'm like, oh, let me get this down. Let me get this down. Because I'm seeing it in my mind. I'm like, I gotta hurry up and write it down because
Yeah.
it's just playing out.
I would
And
have
so
needed some
sometimes I
therapy.
dream. Sometimes I dream about it.
I would have needed some therapy after. I'm serious. Rain is serious now. It's a
Yeah.
good book, but Rain is serious. I would have needed some therapy after. After. Okay, you're a bad
Yeah.
girl. You're bad. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I like. Do you feel like uh well, you kind of touched on this a bit. Do you feel like as you're going about your day doing different things that your characters speak to you?
Um, sometimes I'm thinking as that character,
Okay,
like
okay,
what would Rain do in this moment? Like because I'm a I'm a trained actor. Like
okay,
like in theater, that's what we were trained to do. Like we would literally walk
okay,
through the whole day as whatever character that we were playing at that time.
okay.
We literally would walk because I was of course on campus then, but we would literally walk around campus as that character.
As that person.
Yes, as that person.
Really?
Yes. And
I'm
I mean,
learning so
I mean,
much.
I'm coming from like this is the best school when it comes to theater. North Carolina
Tell us.
A&T. Plug,
Yes.
plug,
Okay.
plug,
That's
plug.
fine. That's fine.
But go
Oh
Aggie.
wow. That's
But yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah,
So
but yeah, that
keep on that.
character a
Okay.
lot of times. yeah. And as a I don't know who I know you've read Rain, but the
Yeah.
second I was started working on the second book,
Are you serious?
and yeah,
So
and
is
so
she?
the second book is
Oh.
actually from a different perspective. It's it's from the Renee.
Oh, okay. Can I see? I
I
see
can't
it.
tell too much.
No, no,
I
no,
can't
don't
tell
tell,
too
don't tell,
much,
don't tell.
but
I want
yeah,
them to go read Rain first, and
yeah,
by the time they
yes,
read Rain, hopefully we'll have the second one out.
right,
That is very interesting to me.
yeah.
So I okay. Here's a question for you. Here's a question for you. All right. So you said you're writing the sequel to Rain, or the second version of Rain, from Renee's perspective. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, I don't know what your favorite novel is, or one of your favorite novels, but you know how there's sometimes in some novels. Have you ever read I, Tituba, Black Witch of Salem? Did you read that one?
Say it
It is
again.
I, Tituba, Black Witch of Salem. She's not an actual witch, but you know what I mean. It's
That
by
sounds familiar.
it's by Maurice Condé. If you've never read that book, when I tell you, that's a good one.
That sounds really familiar.
It's a good one. You probably read it. It's probably just in that part of your brain over there.
Right.
But it's a really good book, and it is it's historical fiction. And basically, what Maurice Condé did is she took a character from Tituba, the character from you know why it sounds familiar, because you know the Salem witch trials, right?
Well, I know that, but the other part sounds familiar too.
Okay,
yeah.
Tituba was actually one of the people who was accused, one of the few Black women.
yes, that's why it
Yes,
sounds familiar. Okay,
yes,
that's
she
why it
was
sounds
one
familiar.
of the few
Yeah,
Black women that was
I got you.
accused of being a witch during the
Right,
Salem
right,
witch trials.
right.
And so
That's why it sounds
Maurice
familiar.
Condé,
Okay.
yeah, I knew you,
Okay,
I
okay.
knew you would know what I was talking about once I got it out.
Yeah,
Maurice
right.
Condé took that figure, Tituba.
Okay.
She took
Oh wow.
the
Okay.
idea of Tituba, and she created this book.
Wow.
Called, and it's, when I tell you that it's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. Someone said great interview. I can't wait to read Rain. You got to read Rain. It's really good. But listen, she took this character and she just molded her. She created another book out of that character, and I'm sure that there's a literary term for it. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I was thinking, have you ever read The Third Life of Grange Copeland by Alice? I don't know why I'm in an Alice
That sounds
Walker
familiar
mood right
too.
now.
I'm trying to. That sounds familiar. Because I've read a lot of stuff. Like, so
it's serious. It's so serious.
Yeah,
The Third Life,
that sounds really
the
familiar.
Third Life of Grange Copeland by Alice Walker. I'm in an Alice Walker mood right now. It is amazing. So now, if I were to say it again.
Go ahead.
If I were to
I'm trying to get the story. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's basically there's a man named Grange Copeland, and he is oh man, I don't want to tell you too much. He's the book kind of chronicles his three lives, not like like reincarnation, nothing like that, but three stages of his life.
Right.
And how he is at this stage, how he is in that stage. And in some stages he is rough and gruff and tough, and in other stages he's kind and gentle. And it's not until he gets to the stage where he has to raise his granddaughter when he is at his most vulnerable.
Oh, okay.
And so her name is Ruth Copeland. Okay. So I always said, if I were to write a novel like I Teach for Black Witch of Salem, where I take a character, I would take the character Ruth Copeland and write the third life of Ruth Copeland.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because she had her first and second life with that in that book, but she didn't really have her third life to mirror, Third Life of Grange Copeland. So here's my question for you. If you had to pick one novel, and you had to take one. I know. I'm sorry. This wasn't on my list. I'm just flowing with you. But if you had to take one novel and pick one character from that novel and create
Mm-hmm.
a whole book out of that character.
Wow.
Or even, you know, since you're a theater buff, even if you have to create a movie out of just from that one character's life, what book would you choose, and what character would you choose?
Wow, that's a great question. um, I think one of my favorite, I have to say, is The Color Purple.
Okay.
People who know me, they know that's my
Okay.
favorite. That's
Okay.
one of my favorites.
I can see that. Okay.
Yeah. I like the style. But I think I would choose Nettie. Nettie from The Color Purple. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't really. I mean, it goes into some detail with her, but not as much as it does Celie.
Okay.
You know,
that's
but
true.
I would take her and kind of what her perspective is from how she felt with Mr. and all of them.
Okay.
You know, and by the way, the book is so much. I don't know if you read the book.
Listen, I've got on my book. You can't see my bookshelf too much right now. I got like 3, 4, 5 different rows. You can't see too much right now. I got 3, 4, 5 different rows. I've got The Color Purple on the bookshelf. I've got, you know what? Let me tell you what I have. Okay, I told you about Temple of My Familiar. There are characters from The Color Purple used in Temple of My Familiar. So in Temple of My Familiar, she talks about Celie, and she talks about Suge, and she talks about Nettie in Temple of My Familiar. So if you haven't read that one, that was a good one. But let me tell you what else I have a copy of, and it is phenomenal. The Same River Twice. Have you ever heard of The Same River Twice? Oh, you would. I think Dawn went out on me. She's gonna come back. No worries. She'll come back. We're still alive. But anywho, here's what I was telling her. The Same River Twice is the book that Alice Walker wrote because she had some concerns about the way that the film The Color Purple came out. There was some things that she really wasn't pleased with the film. So she wrote this book called The Same River Twice. And in that book, she talked about, okay, all right. She says, invite me back, please. Okay. Not sure what happened. All right. Get you back in, Dawn. Okay. You gotta send me the request again, Dawn. It's not allowing me to invite you right now. We were on a roll, Dawn. Okay. You got send me the request again. It's not allowing me to invite you back right now. But I'm going to go ahead and finish what I was telling you. And then once you go ahead and send the request, I'll click the button. But that request has to come from your side, and then I can go ahead and click you in. Here's what I was saying. The Same River Twice is a book that Alice Walker wrote about the book. There we go. All right. Donna's coming back. She is coming back. And there she is.
Okay.
We're back. There we go. I was telling you about The Same River Twice. It's the book.
Somebody called me. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries. No.
They. I don't know why it just I rejected the call, but for some reason they kicked me off.
I think that's still kicking off. But no worries. You're back now. We're good. I was telling you about The Same River Twice. Twice is the book that Alice Walker wrote because she had some concerns. She didn't really care. You know what? She didn't really care for the way that the movie The Color Purple was done. And so she wrote this book called The Same River Twice. And in The Same River Twice, she actually put the original script that she wrote for the movie The Color Purple. And so she talks about how different things were changed that she didn't necessarily care for. So, you know, after reading The Color Purple,
that's interesting.
I thought it was really interesting. After reading the Color Purple and then reading The Same River Twice and then seeing the movie, I'm like, okay. She didn't like that part, and that was originally. You can, when you read the Same River Twice, you'll see what she originally wanted it to be, and then what it actually turned out. Because she felt like the male characters were they were kind of demonized, And
Right,
she
right,
didn't
right.
really want them to come across
Mhm.
as such heinous characters. She
Right,
wanted to
right.
present, she did want to be honest about what they did and
Mhm.
how they
Mhm.
acted, but she didn't want
Right.
them, I mean, Mr. is,
It's
is
so
Mr.
one-sided.
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't
Yes.
see him, we only see his redeemable qualities at the end.
At the end.
We don't
Right.
see
Right.
anything else. So with the same river
Right.
twice, she basically says, "This is how I really meant for the movie to come out. This is
Right.
what I meant."
Right. Because in the book it goes into more detail as far as his vulnerability.
Yes.
It goes into, like, when it comes to Suge, you know, and he's very vulnerable when it
Yes.
came to her.
Yes.
And even when it came to Celie at times, but especially when it came to Suge,
And his
you know,
father.
and
His
oh yeah,
father.
his father,
You
yeah,
can
right,
really
right,
see, you can
yeah,
really see that with this father. That's very
yeah,
interesting that you picked Natty. That's so interesting.
yeah, yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah. I
Huh.
actually liked her character.
I like
I
it
like,
too.
yeah,
I just we don't learn as much about her.
right, right, right,
Very
right.
interesting.
Because I always wondered, like, because it doesn't go too much in detail of how she felt,
Yeah.
because it had to be very difficult
Yes.
to be thrown out of your sister's life like that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, when I still have like a lump in my throat when I watch it,
Really.
when they're torn apart,
Yeah. You know what gets me?
so
When I'm on the edge of my put up on the edge of my seat. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. That part where Celie is sharpening that knife and they're
oh
going back and forth.
yeah,
They've got the shots back and forth
yes,
between Africa and
yes.
and the ceremony. I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, don't
And
let
actually did a
don't let it
paper
cut her.
on that.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
when I was in film school, I did a paper on that scene
Wow.
because of the it's called a juxtaposition,
Yes, yes.
and they like kind of like put, well, in the movie anyway, they put the scene with the ritual,
Mm-hmm.
and her doing the knife,
Yes.
sharpening the knife or whatever.
Who they
I
got me?
thought that was like, as far as the movie, that was, I mean, excellent. I love that
Yes.
when they were kind of like juxtaposing those two different things. They were totally different, like as far as what they were doing,
Right.
but it was so much, the same as far as,
Yes.
you know, what it was. It was like the ritual was like a coming of age type
Yes.
ritual,
Yes.
and she was coming of age almost like when it
Exactly.
came to, this is,
I just
I'm
got goosebumps.
becoming a woman. I'm
I
becoming
just
this.
got goosebumps. Yeah.
I'm getting my backbone.
Yeah.
I'm getting. I'm growing up now. This is where I take my stand.
Yeah. And then that ritual of, the shaving him was a ritual for her.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
I'm oh
Exactly.
excited. I'm excited. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Books made me happy. Books made me happy. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Books said, I'm
Yes.
not I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Books made me happy. This is what I like to tell novelists when they are in the writing process. Hi,
Mhm.
Auntie. And this is what I love to tell authors and writers, especially novelists, when they're in the writing process. You have to envision that people are going to have a conversation like what we're having now about
Yes.
your book.
Yes.
You don't want to
Right.
write a book that you want to sit on someone's coffee table or you want one or two
Exactly.
people to read. You want to write a
Exactly.
book that people are going to pull apart and people are going to discuss.
Right.
They're going to connect with. It's going to resonate with
Right.
them in their lives, and they're
Right.
going to be able to have an honest discussion about it.
Right.
And so
Right.
you want to think about what you're putting in. You want to think about the
Right.
characters' names. You want to think about where you're setting. Do you want to? Speaking of setting, just got some. So you have receded from my beloved Savannah. It's okay, but you're in the
Oh
you're
yes.
in you're in the second city that I love, the second city that
Yes.
groomed me. Uh,
Yes.
so I have a fond appreciation for Atlanta. I do. I have a
Yes.
very fond appreciation for Atlanta, almost every part. Okay,
Right.
I
almost literally almost every part. I have a fond appreciation. There are I noticed that there are a lot of more seasoned, older novelists who write novels about Savannah. They love the South. They
Right,
love the
right.
South.
Yes,
Would you
yes.
ever consider writing a novel either about Savannah or Atlanta? With I wouldn't say about it, but with either
Hmm.
Savannah or Atlanta as oh, and I just said Atlanta, and we've got an Atlantean that just started watching.
Oh, really?
uh, um, oh, oh, I just thought of a good book title. I got to tell you about that later. Um,
Okay.
but would you ever consider writing a novel with either Savannah or Atlanta as the setting?
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Which one would you
definitely.
prefer?
Probably, probably Savannah.
Okay.
Probably Savannah. I mean, Savannah, I don't know that much about Atlanta.
Okay.
Um, I know kind of sort of some things with Atlanta, but I know more as far as history with Savannah.
Yes, we've got a lot of rich
And
history.
Savannah, I think, yeah, as I was gonna say, the history is so rich. I mean, and then the scenery. I mean, the scenery
Yes.
is so. I
Yes.
mean, just historic. Just I mean, I love the way they kept. You know, at first I was, well, not at first, but like after a while, when just living there, you're like, really, you really have to keep all of this,
Hmm.
you know. But I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate how they kept a lot of the history. You know,
Yes.
um, and you know the trees, you know the palm trees, the what do you call it, the
The
weeping willows,
yeah,
and
the Savannah
you know
moss and
those.
all of that.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of rich history, and so I think, yeah, Savannah, and then the I mean the spiritual side of it, when it comes to all of the, you know, ghosts and whatever
Uh
you
huh.
call it, you want to call it, spirits. That's a whole nother
Yes,
undertaking,
it is. Yes, it
you know.
definitely
So
is. We've got an author on. I'm not sure she's still on, but I know I saw her name pop up earlier. Mrs. Brenda
hmm,
Roberts. She wrote a book
yeah.
called Savannah's Black First Ladies. You know Mrs. B
Okay. Yes.
from
Yes.
the
Yes.
Author's Corner. So
Yes.
she wrote a book called
Yes.
Savannah's Black First Ladies. It's a phenomenal book. She's going to share some information about it with us later on in the
Okay.
week. But it is, you know, all about women in Savannah who've been the first African American women to do certain things in their arenas or in
Okay.
their
Awesome.
genres. So,
Okay.
it's a really, really, really good book. You definitely want to
Wow.
grab a copy
Yeah.
if you don't already have one. But I think one of the one of the things that one of the I guess I say components of your books that is so interesting to me is that you are able to connect and speak with your readers. You're able
Mhm.
to move them from one place to the next. And I say effortlessly because when I read it, it doesn't seem strained. It seems as though you're
Mhm.
moving
Mhm.
at a clear pace. You know what you want to say. You're going forward.
Mhm.
What information and that so many people who want to write novels, and a novel is not a small undertaking at all.
No.
It is not, it's not a small undertaking.
No.
You know, the good ones are at least 350 pages, 400 pages, and I'm just
Right.
looking like, oh my gosh, how did you do this? How
Yeah.
did you do this? So we've been chatting for a good bit, and I don't want to keep you from
I'm
your
good. I'm good.
good
Whatever you
things,
want.
little one. But I want you to give
Yeah.
your give some pointers, some tips, some information, some encouragement to people who are either currently writing a novel or they want to write a novel.
Right.
What would you tell them?
First, I would say gather all of your information first.
Okay.
Um, if you have an idea, um, I would say the easiest thing to do would have a beginning in mind, and definitely have a sort of an ending in
Okay.
mind, because that ending
Yeah.
is like gold.
Yes, it is.
The ending, if you have like an ending, because I didn't have an ending.
Really?
And that's what took, yes, it took me so long
Okay.
because I did not have an ending. And, but once I got that ending, it was just like this.
Okay.
It just, you know,
Okay.
but I would recommend to have a beginning and a somewhat sort of an ending.
Okay.
How you want it to end. Sometimes it you know, it kind of changes, you know, with your, because the characters kind of develop on their own. So I like for my characters to kind of develop on their
Yes.
own. You know, kind of tell me where they want to go. So that's how I do it. But I would recommend doing your scenes, your chapters.
Okay.
This happened first. That happened. I mean, if you can. I know sometimes it's a little difficult, but I would recommend doing. Go ahead and doing your chapters.
Okay. Just all kind of outlining them.
Kind of
Okay.
like an outline type thing. If you have, especially if you have an ending in mind.
Okay.
But some people like to do like the whole outline thing, which I think is good. But when it comes to like writing, like I said, by the seat of your pants, just writing as you go along, definitely have an ending.
Gotcha.
You know, I never understood the whole concept of beginning, middle, and end, because I mean, what is the middle? Like,
Got it.
what,
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
you know, what is the middle? But I would definitely say, definitely have a beginning in mind, have an ending in mind. Think of your characters, the basic characters. I mean, like, keep it down to the bare minimum
Okay.
of characters, because it gets so cluttered.
Yes.
If you the more characters you have, it gets really cluttered. So I would recommend the least characters that you can have, especially the main characters.
Okay, gotcha.
The main characters. I would say no. I mean, I can't limit you, but I would say no more than like 5
I was
main
thinking
characters.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just to make it a little easier on your process. But hey, you can have at it, you know, if you it just takes a lot. It takes a lot to do. I do I have like some notes as far as a character, like character analysis. It's a couple of questions I like to ask, because when I think about the character, I think of it like I'm that person.
Okay.
And so I answer certain questions, you know, as that person.
Okay.
It's like, what do you do in life? I have it here. So, what do you do in life? What do you want from life? And these are the main characters.
Okay.
What do you do to get it? What do you like and dislike about people? What do you say? How do you express yourself? You know, just different things that that you can ask. And I can send this over to you.
Yes, I would
as far
like
as the
that.
character analysis, and then you can, you know, pass it on to whoever.
Okay.
That you would like. But I go through the whole process of character analysis. How they look, how they dress. Just make sure your characters are, you know who they are.
Gotcha.
I mean, inside and out. You want 3-dimensional characters. You don't want like a one-dimensional.
Yes.
One-dimensional character. A character is not someone who's always happy.
Right.
You know, you're not always happy.
Exactly.
You know, so there's times when you're sad. There's times when you're excited. There's times when you just don't feel the best, and you express those times too, not just the good times.
Exactly.
So know your characters, good, the bad, the ugly, everything.
That makes
sense. And sometimes you may not use everything, but you know who they are and what they would say.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the ins and out of your character, that makes your dialogue that much easier.
That makes sense.
You know what they would say, you know. and it helps a lot with dialogue.
Yes.
And like with but yeah, I've been told, like with Rain, that the dialogue is it seems real, like,
It does,
like
and it's
seamless,
strong. It's
Mhm.
strong. It seems real. It's not. She said da 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 da. He
Mhm.
said it.
Right.
It's like a seamless flow between the
Mhm.
characters that are speaking. It's very strong.
Mhm. Thank you.
Very strong.
But yeah, I would that's kind of the advice I would give as far as someone trying to do a novel. And don't worry about length in the beginning. Don't worry about length.
Yes.
Just write it out, and then get your first draft out. Just write it. Just write your first draft. Please don't do like I did in the beginning and edit, because I edit so many
Oh
times
yes.
before I even
That'll
finish.
drive you
You
crazy.
know, yes, yes. So just don't even go back. Just just keep writing.
Okay.
Keep writing. Even what I'm doing now with a couple of the things, like even for the next Rain book, I I'm writing out one scene, like a whole. It's gonna be broken up,
Okay.
but the whole I can't tell what it's about, but
Gotcha.
let's say you have a trying to think of an example. Let's say a court scene.
Okay.
You you express the whole court scene out, the whole thing. Of course, you're not gonna express it out throughout the whole book, at
Right.
one time. You're gonna cut it up. But think of it, if you can write it out at one time, the whole court
Okay.
scene, and just write it. It's like you're not writing it as it's gonna be written in the book,
Yes.
but you're just writing each scene as it goes along.
Yes. As
You
in
see what
what's
I'm
gonna I'm
saying?
with
If
you.
that
I'm
makes
with
sense.
you. As in exactly what's gonna happen. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Right. And you can break it up, once you go back and, see, I have and I don't, as far as promoting a different, a certain tool,
That's fine.
but I work with Scrivener.
How do
The writing,
you like it?
I love it. I
Really?
love it. And what I love about it is that you're able to write the things out,
Okay.
and you can order them. You can cut, like you can how you drop and drag. You can
Yes.
drop and drag the scenes wherever you want them to go.
Ah,
Yeah. So
very
it makes
interesting.
it so, yeah, it makes it
Really?
so much easier. You can write in scenes. You can write everything in scenes.
Okay.
You can order, like, let's say you want this scene, let's say scene 5. You want it, instead of in chapter 3, you want it in chapter 2. So you
Okay.
can just drag it. You can just drag it right up to chapter 2.
Okay. Does Scrivener work
Yeah.
would it work for writing a screenplay?
Yes. It does
Are you
all of it.
serious? I have a lot of
Yes.
people who ask about screenplays, and I've used either Celtic or Celtic. I think it's called Celtic.
I've
Um,
never heard of that.
it's okay, and
Mhm.
it got the job done. But I'd like to
Mhm.
try the one that you're suggesting if it'll work for that. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, yeah,
Scrivener.
it
Okay.
does, right. It does screenplays, it does nonfiction, fiction. It actually gives you
All right.
like folders,
For your different
folders
projects.
for your, right. And then it gives you a whole I wish I would have it gives you, I mean, like all of your front matter, all of your back matter,
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
You can actually once you complete the whole thing, you can actually culminate all of it, and that's your book.
Wow.
You actually export it.
I was just about to
Export
say,
it
can
as
you export it?
whatever, like yes, you can export it as a 16 by 9 or export it as a 5 by whatever. Yeah,
Oh, you just
yeah,
helped me
or
out.
ebook.
Are you
Yes,
serious? So you went,
yes.
okay, you export the file. Are you exporting it to Microsoft Word? Or are you exporting it directly to your printer?
You're exporting it to like not Word, but it's a file,
Okay.
like a PDF or
So you
whatever
can send
whatever
it,
file you
you
want.
can send it straight to your printer.
Whatever, yes, you whatever you
Wow. I love
yeah,
it. I
yeah,
love it. I wrote
yeah.
it down. I'm definitely going to try
I said
that.
I need to be a well what do you call it, a one to promote
Ambassador. You know what? You know what would be a good idea? If you have the account with Scrivener, a lot of people have like affiliate marketing.
right, yes, yes, I was gonna say
Do they
I
have
need a
that? Do they have that option?
yes, yes, they do.
Listen, if you sign up as their affiliate, one of their affiliate marketers, send me your link and I'll sign in. I'll sign up under
Yeah.
you so you can get credit for me signing up.
Well, I probably won't do that, for I mean, because I
Oh,
have so much stuff.
oh
But
no!
you can go ahead
Okay,
and do,
I
yeah.
love
But
affiliate
but let me
marketing.
know. But let me know.
I
Yeah.
love affiliate
But
marketing.
Scrivener is yes, yes.
I like it. I wrote it down so I can make sure I get an account. There's another question I want to ask you.
Mhm.
And it's an interesting one. I'm just gonna go ahead and ask. This comes up a lot when I'm working with coaching clients who are particularly working on books that are telling a bit of their life story or some type of event that has occurred with them. And as you said, the book took you over around 20 years, and because you kind of start to stop. A lot of them have that same concern with starting and stopping because the nature of the content is
Right.
sometimes so serious, sometimes traumatic.
Right.
And they have to just kind of take a break for a little bit. So I don't think it's anything wrong with taking a break at all. But
Oh yeah.
I don't think you need to take too long a break because you don't want to just
Right.
leave it alone. Because you have done it, I have not tackled this. Most of what I write is inspirational, so I haven't tackled this type of book. But for people who are writing, and they're writing about their life story, they're writing about, or they're writing, whether it's a life story, or whether it is something that is a traumatic experience that someone else has experienced, has gone through.
Right.
How would you advise them on moving forward, even having to deal with certain things that have happened?
Now, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I remember coming to you, and I remember I expressed to you I was concerned that people, they're gonna think that this story is all me.
Yes.
Everything happened to me. That's one thing that I struggled with, because the odd thing, as I was writing this book, the Rain book, I didn't know a lot of my sisters and, or even cousins or different people experienced a lot of what happened.
I follow you.
And I experienced some things, but I didn't experience half of what they experienced. And then just people in general.
Right.
A lot of people deal with sexual abuse, and it's such a touchy thing, and I didn't want to feel like I was exposing someone else.
Right.
I can expose myself all I want.
Right.
I put it out there, but I did not want to, because I was asking you about, when, like, after it's done, if someone asks me,
yeah,
I can freely say, my part of it, but I don't want to expose other people.
Exactly.
And so, and I think I guess the one way, as far as a fiction to get around it is, and I'll deal with nonfiction too, but when it comes to a fiction, is you can put it all out there, and because a lot of times it's therapy.
Yes.
Writing can be therapy.
Yes.
Because you, especially when it's fiction, because you don't have to worry about someone saying, you know, well, how, you know, you did this or you did that or you said this or you said that, you know, but your character is doing that. They don't know who you know, what you experience. They don't know, you know, they don't know what, you know, what is you and what is not you. And so you're living, I actually lived through some of my characters.
Gotcha.
Some things I could not say, but Michelle could say it.
Ah, interesting.
Know? Right. So, and that Michelle was my out.
Okay.
To get out some things, you know, not from necessarily from me, but just all the people that have experienced, right, that have experienced all of that trauma, and this is what you did. This is, you know,
right.
She was real. She was real about what she was dealing with. Everybody else kind of, you know, she swept it, you know, under the rug. Some kind of sort of in the beginning.
But when she came
she was
out,
like, no.
She was.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I follow you. I totally follow you.
Right. So and then Rain was kind of like to me that I'm just gonna, you know, be good. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna stir too much up.
Okay.
You know, I'm not gonna, I know this happened, and maybe, did it happen?
That was a very interesting element.
Mm-hmm.
That was very interesting. I didn't mean to cut you off.
And honestly, that was me.
Gotcha.
There were some experiences that I remember, that I wasn't sure it actually happened.
Ah, interesting.
In reality. So it's like you have the
interesting.
The recall. You have the recall, but was that a dream? Did it happen? Did it really, you know, did it really take place like that?
I follow you.
You know, you see what I'm saying? And so you kind of, it kind of becomes therapy to you. On the other end, as far as nonfiction, you have to think about the people that you're trying to help.
Yes.
Well, both are kind of, you know, fiction and nonfiction, but especially with the fiction, with the nonfiction, you're helping. Your goal is to help someone to come out of whatever you dealt with.
Exactly.
Or to know how to get through, to know best practices. You know,
right.
How best you went through it, so you don't have to go through it the way I went through it. You can get over it this way, or you can get over it better. You know, so just thinking on the, I guess, on the sense of helping someone.
Okay.
You know, I have to get this out, so no one else will have to go through this like I did it.
Yes.
You know, I have to. It's almost like having to rush and rescue someone. You know.
Interesting.
You know, so it's like, and that's kind of like even why I finished Rain.
Okay.
Because I almost felt like someone needed it. I felt like it was like I had to. It was like I was trying to, almost trying to beat or rush to get to a certain point where that particular reader has to be there at that point to get the book, to read, so they can get through that particular struggle at that moment.
Interesting. Very interesting.
You know, so that's to me, that's a good reason to get this thing done.
Yes.
To get it out there. And I'm a stickler for people to get their stories out.
Yes.
Get it out.
Let
you
your
know,
story
by
be
any
told.
means.
Yes.
You know, and do it tastefully.
Yeah.
Do it,
yeah.
Do it tastefully.
I know what you mean with that.
You know.
You're saying something, but you're not saying something.
Right.
Right.
Don't put it, if you, and one scripture that a lot of times comes to me, and it helps with so many different things that I deal with, is, you know, when it comes to not allowing your freedom to bind someone else.
Interesting.
You know, it's the scripture when I can't remember the book, but it's talking about when you're eating meat. And someone
I know
else,
what you're talking about. Don't ask me where it is, but I know
someone
what you're
else
talking
doesn't,
about.
right, someone else doesn't want to eat meat, or they feel like eating meat is wrong or whatever. So because you have faith in eating your meat, don't let your faith, or don't let your faith bind someone else, your freedom
Gotcha.
bind someone else, you know. So at that moment, don't eat meat,
Got
you
it.
know, when you're in their presence. So it's like, you know, just having consideration for
Yes.
your brother, because your brother or your sister is struggling. You know, have consideration
Yes.
for them. Yes, help them through that. Don't let them stay there, but help them through,
Right.
you know, what they're dealing with.
Don't tell your story so that you're just berating somebody or exposing someone
Right.
else. Tell
Right.
your story to be a help, not a hurt. I'm with you. I'm with you
Exactly.
110%.
Exactly.
I'm with you. Oh, so
Yes.
interesting. So
Yes.
interesting. Don,
Yes.
I don't, I'm waiting on the next Jason's Wish. I'm waiting on the next
Yes.
Rain. I am looking
Yes.
forward to it.
I am too.
You know what? I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. You know what? When they get ready to
and
speak,
I
they'll
would say,
speak.
you know, I would say I am so appreciative of you. You and
Oh,
I mean, you and your editing is just like gold. I mean, seriously.
that's
When
so
I mean,
sweet of
a
you.
lot of what the finished product of Rain or Jason's Wish is because of you. You know, it's
Don't make me tear
I
up,
had
Joe.
I,
Don't make me tear
because
up.
you did bring out a lot of you asked questions.
Yeah.
You know, what is you know, what if.
Hold up, Dawn. Hold up, Dawn. I lost you. Hold on. I lost you. I can't hear you, Dawn. There you go. There you go. You're back.
Okay.
You're back. You're back.
Okay. I don't know why it's going in and out, um, but you're like, okay, I can see this, but give me a little bit
Give
more
me more.
of,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So you brought out a lot of description, and you kind of helped me to dig deeper, you
I'm
know.
glad about that. I'm glad about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's how my brain works when it comes to the books, because I I, I cannot express to you some of the best times I've had. I mean, most people enjoy their college years. They do, you know. But I
Mhm.
wasn't like a big, you know, party animal. I'm not gonna
Right.
say I
No,
didn't,
me
you know,
either.
go to any, but
Mhm.
I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed the exchange. I enjoyed
Yeah.
sitting in class and picking a book apart. So when I'm
Right.
reading or
Right.
editing someone's novel, I'm thinking I want this book to be, you know, in someone's literature class,
Right.
and I
Right.
want to see them pick Rain apart. You know, I
Right.
want
Right.
Rain
Right.
to be
That's
on the,
good.
you know,
That's good.
I want Rain
Yes.
to be on the syllabus. This is what we're reading this
Yes.
semester. Make
Wow.
sure you have chapters 1 through 5 read by Friday. You
Wow.
know, I want to
Mhm.
see that. So I'm sitting, and I know
Okay.
how we sat and picked things apart. And I know how we, you know, we had to
Mhm.
choose. If I'm a college student and I'm in a literature class and I need to write an essay or a paper on Rain, I want to have something to work with. And
Right. Right.
you gave us a lot to work with. You gave us the different things. You gave us a lot of different things. I think
Mhm.
when writers are writing, if they can think about what is going to take place beyond just the few pages. This is not just a book.
Mhm.
A book, as I say
Mhm.
always, a book is a gateway to several other opportunities.
Right.
And so, you know, you don't know what those opportunities are going to be right then at the moment that you're writing.
Mhm.
But if you can think
Right.
on an elevated level and give an idea to some other options, you can say, okay, I can
Mhm.
see Rain doing this, and this is how she's going to, just as you said with the character analysis. You know, you
Mhm.
know this from the film perspective. You pick these things apart, because
Mhm.
when we look at a
Mhm.
film on screen, and just, you know, not a shameless plug, at all. I would love to see rain on the screen. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yes.
I'd love to see it, I'd love to see it on the screen, but I'm going to just put that right there, put a pin in it.
Right. Yeah, put it in the
Yeah,
atmosphere.
I'm going to speak it in the atmosphere. I think that'll be awesome. But when we see
Yes.
that, when we look at things on the screen, when we read in literature, we get a different sense. And so it's
Right.
important when you're writing to be sure that you are writing with that in mind. You're not just writing a book. Your book is your gateway.
Right. Exactly.
And so your book,
Exactly.
and one of the things that I remember telling you about Rain that I loved is that um, it can be used as a tool for small groups. It can be used as a tool for, book clubs and book groups. It can be used as a tool for, Bible study, or even literature therapy or book therapy. I really do. I really, really believe that it can be used as a form of that, because it is a coming of age novel. It does deal with a very controversial topic, and it deals with that controversial topic from a young person's perspective, and also from the parent's perspective. And it
Right.
is something that
I can get my headphones.
it's something that people can. You're fine. Something that people can work through, go through, and be empowered from. It can definitely be empowered from it as a result of reading it. So I see that. I see people picking Rain apart and saying, well, okay, well, this is the book that I'm going to use for my English 101 thesis, or my English 101, 10-page paper. So we need to give them something to work with. We need to give them 10 pages that they can glean and extract all these different things from, so they can take it to the next level. But Rain is awesome. Jason's Wish is awesome. I'm looking for the next few. I know we've been off for a while. Our families are probably like, what in the world? Y'all been talking forever. But we've been having a good chat. And I'm sure that those who are watching have been inspired and informed, because they're sending little messages that, they enjoyed the conversation. And I'm very, very glad about that. Will you give us some closing thoughts, just to kind of recap what you've been telling the authors? And if anyone is just tuning in, we are chatting with, this is Authorpreneur Week, day number 3, and we are chatting with Ms. Dawn Coates. I am Natario Powell, the book doctor, and we've been talking about the great American novel, how to construct the novel. We've been chatting about how to form your character analysis. We've also been chatting about what to do at different stages of your novel, how to outline, how to organize, and how to make sure everything flows together. And so Dawn is the author of multiple books, but we've been focusing on her novel Rain and her children's book Jason's Wish for this particular session. She's been giving us a whole lot of great information. And if there's anything that you have heard that you want some more information on, definitely be sure to DM or inbox me, and I'll go ahead and get that information out to you. You can find Dawn on Facebook. You can also find her on IG, as well as through her website. So Dawn, be sure before we end, I definitely want you to kind of give us some closing remarks and give us a recap of just what you want people to glean from your books, and also what you want them to glean from having the skills to write a novel, and close us out with how we can get in touch with you.
Okay. I would say, first of all, when you write on purpose.
Yes.
Definitely have your reader in mind, but like I said earlier, get your thoughts out, get everything out in the beginning. Get have a definite beginning and have almost a definite ending to what you want, where you want to go. Plan. I would say.
Yes.
And it's okay. It's okay to mess up in the beginning. When you're in your draft, your draft stage. It's okay. Just get it out. Just get everything out. And it's use it as therapy. Use it as therapy. And then in your next draft, you can think about your reader and how they could pull from it, how they could glean from it. And I would say just be authentic,
Yes.
be authentic with your characters, be authentic with your point of view, how you even when it comes to a nonfiction, be authentic, but at the same time, we were saying not to expose so much where it's going, just be sensible or be sensitive.
Yes.
Not only to other people, but to yourself also.
That makes sense.
But the main thing is just get it out there. Get your story out there. And the best, to me, Natariel is like the best when it comes to
well, thank you.
Like shaping, kind of helping you shape your story. Once it I would recommend once you get it, try to, as much as you can, edit as much as you can before you get to Natariel or so what I like to do is I'm more of a grammatical editor.
Yes.
I'm more of a
yes.
that's the type of editor I am. I'm more of like what do you call it? Not line editor,
copy.
but copy editor. Yes.
Actually,
I'm more of a copy editor.
Yeah.
And so I don't do the whole line edits, the whole because you do. I think you're really, really good.
I do both.
Yeah, I know you do both. But you're really, really good with shaping the whole thing, like not just the grammar, but like the characters, the story, making sure everything is consistent and looks good. Like the whole environment looks good, and you're really good with that.
Well, thank you.
And yes, so but like I said, just get your story out there.
Yes.
That's
it is most important.
The most important thing. And I don't know. You want me to tell them?
Yes. How can we find you? How can we find Rain? How can we find Jason's Wish? All that good info.
Rain and Jason's Wish. I believe it's still on Barnes and Noble too, but it's definitely on Amazon.
Yes.
Both of them, the print version and the ebook. They're in print and ebook. And I'm actually about to do Rain as well. I think I'm gonna start with Jason's Wish first.
Okay.
Doing the audio.
Audiobook. You got to tell me how you like that.
Yeah. My husband wants me to do Rain. I'm like, I don't know.
I understand. I do understand. I understand. I'm with you. We're here.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
But you got.
Yeah. But I may do.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I definitely want to go into the audiobook thing. So.
Interesting.
Because I know for me, I love audiobooks. Because a lot of times I don't have time to when I'm working on books myself.
Right.
So I don't have a time to, and I'm a part of a book club.
Oh. Okay.
So and so I try to do like the audiobooks more now.
Yes.
Because I have so much I have to do, and I have 3 kids, 1 toddler.
Yes.
Soon to be toddler anyway.
That beautiful little baby girl.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes.
So anything to make your life easier,
I just finished the one not too long ago. It was really good.
Audible, yeah. But I'm on Facebook, T Dawn Gatlin Coates, Instagram. I think Break of Dawn Inc.
Yes.
Break of Dawn Inc. is my kind of company that I'm developing.
Gotcha.
Also website breakofdawninc.com with a K, Inc. with a K.
I like that.
And I'm working on my website right now, so it's up, but it's still
Under construction.
you know, under
Gotcha.
construction. So I'm developing a lot of things now. So and plus doing the writing and all that. So
yes,
it's a lot.
interesting.
And also I'm going to be launching soon a ministry
Okay.
with writing
You
called
gotta
Tribe.
tell us about
Yeah,
it.
Scribe Tribe. It's called Scribe Tribe. And it's basically to help prophetic scribes.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically to help them through the process, because I'm a prophetic scribe. I write things prophetically also.
Okay.
And even just being a writer in general, you know, is you're a scribe.
Right.
You know, you're part of the scribe community. And also what I just realized in the last couple of years is that even with the scribe, it entails media, it entails video,
yes,
and film and all of that.
Yes.
You know, it's like telling a story, telling whatever means that you can. You know, like it's almost like a paintbrush.
Yeah.
You know, different types of paintbrushes. You know, but you're telling a story.
I like
you
that.
know, or you're giving information. So that's going to be something I'm going to be launching later.
Very interesting.
Called Scribe Tribe.
Okay.
Because it is a tribe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I like.
Yeah, we are a peculiar
bunch
people.
Of peculiar people within the larger group.
Right.
Of
Exactly.
People. It's
right.
I love when Don told me about the scribe tribe. I was like, oh, I am a scribe.
Okay,
yes. Because it's a term that we don't normally use.
Right.
So when you think about it, you think about this long scroll, and you think about
right. Right. And that's a part of my logo.
Really?
The scroll is a part of my
I love it. That's what comes to mind when I think about a scribe.
Right.
And I didn't, but I've never. And you hear scribes in the Bible.
Yes. It's all through the Bible. Yeah.
I never thought.
I mean, you think about the whole Bible. The whole Bible is written by scribes.
Exactly. I didn't even think. It didn't hit me until you started telling me about Scribe Tribe, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's awesome!" Because one of the main things that is helpful, in my opinion, as a writer, is having another group of writers to discuss things with, to bounce ideas off of, or to. And we were talking about. Sunday, having an accountability partner as far as your writing is concerned, and just having that community there. And I think Scribe Tribe would be great for fostering that community that you need with writers. And you really, really, really do need a strong community, because it gets a bit, can be a bit challenging at times. It's not. It is not insurmountable, but it can definitely be challenging. So I'm excited about Scribe Tribe.
I'm trying to find this. It's a scripture that that I had. I can't locate it right now, but it's basically it's a whole lot of scriptures dealing with scribes.
Yes.
And it's basically just getting the word out. It's basically I wish I could remember the whole scripture, but it's talking about blessed is the. I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not even gonna.
That's okay. That's okay. You gave us enough so we can look up Scribe. You gave us enough so we're in anticipation for Scribe Tribe, and we'll be able to follow you. People, can follow Dawn on IG, also follow her on Facebook, so that they can get more information and follow the journey to get into Scribe Tribe. Listen, I've had an amazing time. I don't know about you all.
Oh yeah, it's been.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you so much. We've been chatting. I'm just going to recap because we have different people coming in at different times, and I cannot see everyone who joins at that time. So if you are just joining, if you've been in for a while, thank you first. We greatly appreciate you joining in. Again, this is Authorpreneur Week day number 3. I'm Natario, the book doctor, and we've been chatting with Dawn Gatlin Coates about constructing the great American novel, how you put together a novel, what should your process be, how should you formulate your characters, and the importance of character analysis as well as editing. We've talked about a lot today. We talked about ghostwriting, the importance of, or understanding what ghostwriting is. We talked about that as well.
Right.
We've given a great deal of encouragement for authors. If you are writing a book, don't stop, keep writing. It does not matter whether or not you feel like you cannot get it out. Let your voice be heard through your writing. You can do it.
Yeah.
You may need some assistance. You may need some help. You may need to get someone to assist you, but you can do it. It's definitely not something, a feat that you cannot overcome. Dawn has done it, and she has done it with a 300 plus page novel. I'm telling you, my hat's off to you. I am going to try it. I'm telling you, I'm going to try. I'm going to give it I want it.
But it doesn't have to be 300 pages.
It doesn't, but I mean, I want
well, I think Rain is somewhat like, 250 or something like that?
Rain is pretty long. Rain is pretty thick now. Rain is pretty thick. It's not an hour-long read. Rain is not an hour-long read. It's pretty thick. You put some work.
But I've actually had people to read it in one day.
I can see a day. Okay. I couldn't read it in a day. But I'm not
I couldn't read it in a day.
I'm not a fast reader. It takes me a minute. Listen, I got to go through and look at different things. And then I'm sitting writing in the margins. I got to go stop and get something to eat. I don't read.
Yes. But you see so much. So you're one of those like me. Like I can't go to a movie and I'm not looking at the scenes and looking at everything around it and how the camera angle is and I just can't watch a movie and just and you're
sitting there with the people like, did you see that? They're like, did you see what? I didn't see it. You didn't see that, man. Yeah.
Exactly.
I told you that I recently started with screenwriting, particularly with the screenplay, and so I am.
Yes, I actually started with screenplay.
Yes, I'm learning different things now, and because I'm learning different things, I'm not professionally trained in like with your eye, but I'm learning to look at different things because I want to make sure I implement that in my writing. How this person stays, how that person moves, how the fade in goes, how the fade out, all that stuff. So I'm learning to pay attention to it now, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
And show and don't tell, like showing and not telling it,
Exactly. I'm able to see now how different. Let's see. Robin says you talk through the movies.
talking about you or me?
No, I think he's talking about
me.
I could be wrong. I'm sorry, but I think that's what her comment says. I kind of
sometimes I do. So she might be talking about me.
But it's interesting to see how so much is conveyed with the look that someone gives, or their body language, or how they have that dramatic exit or entrance or whatever. It's just interesting. Listen, we're going into a whole
or the pauses, or just the pauses.
Yes.
Just the air, just the
what is said in that. She said in general. She's talking about me too.
Okay.
We got you, dog. We've got you, Robin. We are we are the people who talk through the movies. We are the people you do not want to go to the movies with. And it came back to bite me in the bum because my son does that now, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
wow,
stop talking.
Exactly.
But I'm sorry. We're sorry, Robin. But we're probably going to still do it.
Right. I see everything.
Listen, I think this.
I love you, Robin.
She says she loves you, Robin. This is going to go into a whole other discussion of screenwriting and screenplays. I think that we're going to definitely have to include. She said her too. We're definitely going to have to include a screenplay or screenwriting component the next time Authorpreneur Week is done, because a lot of people want to write screenplays and they need information about that.
That's good. Yeah.
I don't know if you are considering this, but I'm working on a series of online courses for people who are interested in certain topics related to writing, publishing, and marketing. And I mean,
I am. That's in the work.
Yes,
it's in the working.
I love it. Are you, I'm using Teachable. What are you using?
I was looking at Teachable.
Okay.
I'm kind of looking at. So do you have Teachable?
I have Teachable. I like Teachable. I started with Udemy. And Udemy is it's very interesting. That's gonna take. I'm telling you, that's gonna take it to a whole nother conversation. I have to call you about that. But there are some very interesting differences between Udemy and Teachable that allowed me to steer a little closer towards Teachable as opposed to Udemy. Okay. Udemy is still great. It's still awesome. But for what I would like to do,
I was leaning more with Teachable. Yeah,
Teachable is going to be the platform that it's been great for me, and it's very user friendly. It's very user friendly, so that's another good thing. Udemy is as well. So, but it's in a category all its own. It definitely is in a category all its own. But yeah, we got to chat about that later. Listen, this has been awesome. Yeah. You guys have been awesome for staying attentive and listening to the discussion. What you cannot get, you can go online and log in and click on several different pieces of information, but it is very rare that you have the opportunity to speak with an author about his or her writing. That's very rare. So this has been a priceless moment today. And that is pun intended. This has definitely been a priceless moment today. And just to be able to sit and chat with you about your work, about the rationale behind your work, your writing, your process, that has been very rewarding. It's been helpful to me. I hope it's been helpful to our viewers as well. Again, this is Authorpreneur Week. This is day number 3. So this evening we've got another workshop at 6:08 that I'm doing.
I'm ready for that.
You're ready? It's gonna be. I might have to bring you back, Dawn. I might have to bring you back on.
Because I have something at 7. I have something at 7. So but I'll definitely be on at 6.
Okay, well I'm gonna give some good information just about editing, how to just the wonderful world of editing a book. Any type of book. So that's going to be at 6:08 today. I'm so glad that you all joined. I'm excited. I want to be sure that authors' voices are heard amidst all the other voices that are going on right now. We want to be sure that authors' voices are heard. And one of those strong voices that you need to know and that you were able to hear today is Dawn Gatling Coates. Thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us today. She can be found on Facebook at T Dawn Gatling Coates. She can be found on Instagram at Break of Dawn Inc with the K, and she can be found on breakofdawninc.com as far as that's her website is concerned. I'm going to sign off. Dawn, thank you so much. Love you lots.
Thank you. And thank you for doing all of this. This is awesome.
It is truly my pleasure. Give those young men a hug from me and kiss that beautiful little girl.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to sign off. Y'all have a great day. Great rest of your day. Ta-ta.
You too. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.